実は徐々に
Really? What do you
父
remember?
のことです。
When dad you remember that? Did it just pop out of nowhere?
ふざけないでください。
When did he remember that?
私は真面目に言ってるんで
Oh
す。
no, it was a joke. Oh, god damn it. Sorry. I thought he was actually going to be serious. So you remember who your father was? What about your
どうやら
mother?
いないようです。私には。
Oh. So your dad raised you. Case stopped for a moment, then calmly folded his hands in front of him. What?
私は父が働く研究施設の中で育てられました。
What the hell?
その施設で働いているのは父一人だけだったので、私は成長するまで父以外の人間を見たことがありませんでした。しかし何しろ生まれた時からその状況ですから、それを不審に思うことさえありませんでした。
He wouldn't allow me to go near him while he was working, but the only times he wasn't working were the times when he was sleeping. As such, the only communication I had was with the education software he'd given me. I suppose I was a fairly expressionless child then. We developed body language to communicate with others, and with no one else to communicate with, I suppose it makes sense. Once I learned to read and write, I began to realize that my situation was not normal. Many of my books mention a mother as a part of the family. In several, the mother, father, and child would eat meals together and talk to one another. Soon I found myself longing for a mother of my own, someone who would always be with me, who would scold me if I did something wrong. At night they would read to me before bedtime. If only I had a mother like that, I thought, I would be so happy. So the first time in my life, I asked my father for something. He had finished working and, as usual, was making his way toward his bedroom when I stopped him and asked for a mother. He looked at me silently for a long moment before finally responding okay. I remember to this day how happy I was at that moment. A few months later, he had called me into his laboratory. It was the first time he had ever done anything like that. My heart was beating quickly as I stepped inside. Standing next to him was a young woman, and my hopes soared. But when he said her name, or rather her ID number, they were dashed. He had given me a robot to play with, play the part of mother. I didn't want a mother that was a machine who did what a human told her to do. When I told my father that, he looked surprised for the first time in my life. Then he frowned, coughed, and admonished me for being a whiner. He'd never scolded me for anything before. At first I was surprised, then angry. Hot tears streamed down my face. My father ordered the robot to take care of me and shoot us out of the lab. The robot was very convincing, and she smiled and spoke as if she was a real person, but I refused to answer her and locked myself in my room. You can talk to a robot and it will respond. But in the end, you're still talking to a machine, not a person. If that was what I'd wanted, I still had the education software my father had given me. When I ignored the robot as it tried to take care of me, it looked sad. It couldn't really be sad, of course. It was only programmed to look that way. A robot's facade of sadness didn't mean anything to me. After that, I stopped expecting anything from my father. We'd never really spoken to begin with, so it was easy enough for me to make sure we never saw one another. I lived my life as if he didn't even exist. Perhaps it seems strange to you that I continued to live with him, but I never considered leaving. Perhaps in the hidden depths of my heart, I longed for a relationship with my father. Everything changed when I was 18. I left my room one morning to find a woman standing outside of it. She was the first human I'd ever seen, apart from my father, and I was understandably surprised. For a moment I thought my father had created a new robot, but when I told her that, she laughed and explained that she'd come to help him. As it turned out, she was a very mysterious person. What did she look like? Don't blur her out. She was much older than I was, but something about the way she behaved was almost girlish. She would tell stories about the world outside in such a way that I was never sure if she was telling the truth or making up fantastic lies. Ultimately, the truth didn't matter. I loved her stories. She wasn't helping my father directly with his research, so I spent most of my days with her. Before long, I discovered she'd known my father when he was young. She told me stories of how he'd fallen in love as a young man, and I began to imagine that the person he'd fallen in love with had been her, and that she was, in fact, secretly my mother. After she settled in with us, our long-established routine began to change drastically. First, we started to eat together. Before then, I had never shared a meal with anyone in 18 years. She scolded me for my table manners, or more accurately, the lack thereof. If I was going to eat with others, she said I would need to be more polite. Having eaten alone for my entire life, manners had never been something I'd even thought about. My father got in trouble too when he made the mistake of reading through research papers during dinner. The look of surprise and embarrassment on his face made me burst into laughter. I couldn't remember the last time I'd shared a laugh with my father. It might have been the first time. The room we considered our living room changed too. Before it had been just another room, but she made it comfortable. After we finished our dinner, I would sit on the sofa and relax with her and my father. Those times were the ones I cherished the most. For a little while, every day I got the family I'd longed for ever since I was a child. At her suggestion, I started to help with my father's research. Did he grow up here? He specialized in genetic engineering, and I discovered I had an interest in it as well. Time faded away as I lost myself in research. Now that we were working and studying together, my father and I had a great deal to talk about. For the first time in my life, we began to speak with one another like a father and a son. Whenever I impressed him with something, I'd learn I felt a surge of happiness, and it drove me to study even harder. My days felt full, right, and meaningful, but most importantly, I was happy. 4 years passed in the blink of an eye until one day I happened to overhear my father and the woman speaking in the laboratory. Their tone was serious, so I listened closer, curious to know what they were talking about. That was when I heard her say that she planned to give her life to achieve their goals. It really looks like that old woman. $20 on Akane. It was clear that she wasn't being metaphorical. She would have to die, and that almost looks like Zero, like the little captain dude in the main room. I mean, I call him a captain. He kind of looked like a captain. Weird coat. I was in shock. The research I had thrown myself into would lead to her death. I asked my father to stop his research immediately. He refused to listen. She agreed with him. She told me that she had been prepared for what she had to do since the day she came to our facility. My father had known about it from the beginning as well. Angry and disappointed, I began to investigate what exactly the research I'd been helping with was working toward. Perhaps I thought I could figure out a way to keep her alive. I discovered much more than I'd bargained for. To begin with, I learned that the ultimate success of my father's research would require a good deal of sacrifice. And I also learned that my own existence was just another part of his project. I had been created to function as my father's spare. If he died during his research, I was intended to continue it in his place. I was stunned. Whoa. I was furious with my father and with her, and even with the research I'd poured myself into for 4 years. There was only one thing to do: destroy the facility and my father's horrible research once and for all. I made plans to destroy the main reactor and with it the entire facility, but she saw right through me. My father was livid and locked me in my room until his research was complete. All I could think of was how I might stop him. She did her best to convince me that I misunderstood, that everything would be fine. As much as I wanted to believe her, I remember in the back of my mind that she had been the one who pushed me to become involved in my father's research. Had that been an earnest desire to give me something to do with my life, or... Still, I couldn't bring myself to hate her. She'd given me a reason to live. Even if she had conspired with my father to mold me into his replacement, the warmth she'd showed me had been real. She'd made me feel as if I had a real family, and that there was something I wouldn't have given up for the world. I pleaded with her to leave, but she quietly shook her head. Yeah, I mean, when someone's committed to giving their life to research, you kind of just have to accept that. There's someone very special to her, she told me. He had saved her life once, and she felt her death would help repay that favor. She would have liked nothing more than to marry him and live a happy, normal life together. But she couldn't, for his sake, she said, and for the sake of the future she had wanted. She was determined to see my father's research succeed. I realized then that although she was the most important person in my life, there was someone more important than me in hers. She tried to explain that beyond what we could see was a future where no one would have to die, but I refused to listen to. What good was a potential future to me? It was what I had now that I wanted. I couldn't stand to think that she would give her life for a man I'd never even seen. Yeah, that's definitely Akane. So I shut myself off from the world. Perhaps that is why I lost my memory. So you weren't knocked out. Kayla had a deep, tired sigh.
すみません。すっかりと長話をしてし
It's
記
okay.
憶というのはないと不便ですが、戻れば戻ったで面倒なものですね。
So your members don't remember almost
い
everything?
え、細かいところはまだ不明のままです。特にここ最近のことは何も。
Huh.
申し訳ありませんが、少し横になってもいいですか？
Go ahead.
具合が悪いのです。あまりにもいっぺんに昔のことを思い出したせいでしょうか。頭が割れるように痛んで。
Are you okay?
しばらく休めばすぐに良くなると思います。
Have fun, buddy. Okay. Take as long as you need. I'll go look for Tenmyoji and Clover
すみません。
myself.
よろしくお願いします。
Kay lowered himself heavily on the red sofa in the corner of the room. Well, guess I'd better get moving then. Swear to God if Kay's not here when I get back. I stepped out of the room and nearly ran into Phi. What are you doing? You're supposed to be waiting back at the
分かっ
warehouse.
てる。ちょっと様子を見に来ただけだよ。待てど暮らせど誰もやってくる気配がなかったから。その感じだとまだ見つかってないみたいだな。
We checked like 2 rooms.
四つ葉と天明寺。K は
He's in the
別
lounge.
れることにしたのか？
Well, not quite. Instead of waiting for my answer, she opened the door to the lounge and walked in.
おい、どうしたんだ K？
I guess he's not feeling too well. He said he wanted to rest for
大
a
丈夫
bit.
なのか？
Think so. We should leave him alone right now, though. Remember, there's a real person inside the suit. I'm sure he's just tired.
か。シグマ、お前の方はどうなんだ？顔に疲労感がにじみ出てるぞ。3日3晩履き続けた靴下みたいになってる。
Oh, wow, thanks. I love you too. Really? Well, I guess I'd be lying if I said I wasn't exhausted. I mean, all of a sudden, I wake up trapped in some weird-ass game, and then dead bodies start turning up. Honestly, I'm amazed I've managed to hold my sanity on for this long. Just about everything here makes absolutely zero sense. The more I try and figure any of it out, the more I feel like my brain's just going to melt out of my ears. You know what I'm talking about, right? We managed to figure out who the killer was, but there's still 100 other questions we have no idea about. Where the hell are we? Why are we even here? What's this whole nonary game thing for? And what is Zero Senior up to? Hell, how about who Zero Senior is? The rabbit said he was one of us, but... Do you think it's Dio?
さあ、どうだろう。
Besides, we still don't know why Dio killed them. He said he was ordered to do it, but... And there's more too. What about the old lady? Who is she? What's her deal? Hell, what are any of our deals? I don't know jack shit about anybody here. I don't even know anything about you, Phi.
おい、よせよ。私のことを疑ってるのか？
No, that's not it.
私はお前と同じように12月の25日に。
She trailed off. What? You heard that, right?
ああ、確かに聞こえた。通路の方からだ。
Let's go have a look. What the hell was that?
誰もいないな。
Maybe they got on the
ボ
elevator.
タンを押してみよう。扉がすぐに開かなかったら、エレベーターは今。
That's not good. It should have been up here.
やっぱりだ。
Let's go. Like, I don't want to split up, but I still think we need to split up. Someone covered the elevator so they don't slip back. Because someone's running around. I don't like it. Which way? Where do you think they
と
went?
りあえず緑の扉の方に行ってみよ
Why?
う。この扉の先には治療、そしてあの部屋のポットの中にはクオークとディオが。
So?
気になるだろう。二人が無事かどうか確認しておきたいんだ。
They're fine. Tenmyoji or Clover probably made that noise. Well, maybe both of them. But I don't think they'd hurt Dio or
言い
Quark.
切れるか。ディオはローバの殺害については犯行を認めたが、アリスとルナをやったのは自分ではないと言っていた。もしもその言葉が本当だとしたら。
That is true. Are you serious? You're gonna
と
believe
にか
him?
く無事なら無事でそれでいいんだ。
Yeah, it's not that she's believing him, it's just that there's a possibility.
念のため。
Alright, fine. Like, it's better to be safe than sorry. We aren't losing anything checking. We headed to the first pod. I cracked open the top and pulled it back. Quark's still fine. There was Quark sound asleep. See?
ああ、確かに杞憂だったのかもしれんな。ディオの方はどうだ？
Let's open his. Oh, shucks. What the hell?
シグマ。
This dude's dead. His bracelet's off. It was pointless to check his pulse. He was obviously dead, but I did it anyway. Yeah, he's dead. Oh.
見ろ。ポット内の酸素濃度が 0% になっている。
That means he asphyxiated. But
誰か
why?
がこの装置を操って酸素濃度を下げたんだろ
Huh. Who?
う。とにかくこのことをケンに知らせに行こう。ほら。
Without waiting for me to follow, Phi turned off and ran. I took a deep breath and followed. The problem is Phi's really suspicious. She was the only one down here. She could have easily just sent the thing down. I don't know how she'd make a noise out in the hallway, but she could have easily just sent us on a wild goose chase. Fine, I burst into the lodge and ran up to Kay. Kay, wake up! Something's happening. When he didn't move, I grabbed him by the shoulders and shook. He twitched and quickly sat up.
何か
We explained about how we'd found Dio dead, and how it looked like he died of asphyxiation. It appeared that someone had reduced the oxygen level of his pod to 0.
そんな、なぜあのローバとアリスさんとルナさん3人を殺害したのはディオさんのはず。なのにその殺人犯であるはずの彼が
Why would someone want to kill him for revenge? I don't know. The only people who could have done it are Clover and Tenmyoji. Or Phi.
あるいはクオークという可能性も。
What? No. That's impossible. You're suggesting Quark woke up, opened his pod from the inside, killed Dio, and then got back to
あ
sleep.
くまでも可能性の話だよ。考えられないこともないと言ったまでだ。
でしたらファイさん
You'd have to know that we put Dio in there,
大
though.
変申し上げにくいのですがあなたにも可能性はあるのでは
Easily.
私に？
そうです。私とシグマさんが B 階の倉庫を出て行った後なら
おいおい、冗談はその見てくれだけにしてくれ。
If you're gonna throw Quark under the bus, yeah, we can suspect you.
私はずっと B 階の倉庫で四つ葉と天明寺が来るのを待っていたんだ。
Yeah, you got witness to prove it?
だがいつまで経っても誰も来ないからしびれを切らして A 階へ。すると このラウンジの前でばったりとシグマに出くわして。
She went on to explain about the sound we'd heard.
なるほど、物音ですか。だとしたらやはり四葉さんと天明寺さんが犯人という
I don't think Clover did it.
濃厚でしょうか。
I think both of them are dead.
ケイとシグマは二人を捜索している間、
Yeah.
ええ、そうです。
片時も離れたことはなかった。
Nope.
いずれにせよ今はじっくりと考えている時間はなさそうです。
Crap. We got 7 minutes until the primary doors open.
やむをえん。B 階の倉庫に向かおう。もしかしたら四葉と天明寺は。
ところでディオさんのバングルは
His what?
バングル？
やはり回収してないんですね。ディオさんのバングルは緑のそろばん、一方私とファイさんは紫のペアバンですから。
そうか、ふっかりしていた。ディオのバングルがないと私とケイは白の第二扉を開けないんだな。
It was in his pod. Why didn't we
そ
grab
うい
it?
うことになる。
Then we need to hurry. We'll drop by the treatment center on the way back and grab the
Yeah.
bracelet.
何も3人で行くことはないでしょう。バングルは私が拾ってきますから。お二人は先に。
わかった。
あ、そうそう。その前にこれをお渡ししておかなければ。
Thank you. Yo, bracelets. Where are these Alice and Luna's?
ええ、この2つのバングルがないと青のそろばんであるシグマさんは。ですからさあどうぞ受け取ってください。
I grabbed the bracelets and shoved them in my pocket.
よし、それじゃあ行こう。
Okay. No problem from here. Shit. They're not
す
here.
るとケイが言ったように、
With Quark's
ある
bracelet?
いは
Or what? Come on, man. You better not give me that maybe they're already dead crap. I got enough of it from Dio. You've got to be kidding me. This isn't funny, Phi. If you're right, then you, Kay, Quark, and I are the only still people alive in here.
私だって二人は生きていると。だが
Weird noise and turned. That's Kay.
お待たせしました。
ディオのバングルは。
それがもちろん回収はしてきたのですが、まあ見ていただくのが一番。これがポットの中に転がっていた。
Dio, you son of a bitch, you broke it. What the hell?
おそらくディオさんを殺害した犯人が壊したものと思われます。
No, he was probably choking to death and he broke it. So so 2 other people died. Why? There's no
わかり
point.
ません。しかし推測することなら。
That son of a bitch. Phi probably killed it, was killing him. He saw it was Phi, so he destroyed his bracelet so she couldn't get through the door.
バングルがこの状態では CD の認証をクリアすることはできないでしょう。
すると私とケイは。
Ah, no. Shit. You're gonna...
なるほど、犯人の狙いはそれ。そいつはこのゲームのルールを利用して間接的に私とケイを殺そうと。そのためにディオのバングルを破壊したんだな。
ええ、そう考えるのが。
How can you be so calm? In 5 minutes you're gonna be...
シグマ、お前は先に進め。
No!
さっきケイからもらったバングルがあるだろう。あれを持っていればお前だけは第二扉を開くことができる。だから。
Fuck that. You know I can't just ditch you guys like that.
この場に留まっていれば。
You think I don't know that? But what kind of a monster am I if I just leave you here to die? Ugh. God damn it. This was bad. What was I going to do? I need to calm down. Just calm down. Calm down and think. There has to be a way to save him. There has to be.
毒剤を受
お兄ちゃんから聞いたことがあるの。ステログミンはコリンエステラーゼ阻害薬、つまり筋弛緩薬ハイメトリンの解毒剤になるんだって。
And Clover had the injection gun. Actually, Dio had it.
ほら
He stole it back.
返せよ。そいつは俺が見つけたんだから俺のものだ。
So, of course, the antidote.
解毒剤
I didn't have time to explain. I took off running toward the exit.
おいシグマどこに行く
Stay here. I'll be right back. I bolted out of the warehouse toward the treatment room.